Gambia has only 46 people in quarantine with no new cases, according to the latest update. Truck bombing kills at least 17 people in Al-Babab city in Syria. And schools are set to reopen in mid-October, says Education Minister. This and more coming your way on News Desk. It is 1300 hours in our studios in Banjul. Many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. We begin with matters of the latest update of the COVID-19 situation in the country, because the Gambia has recorded no new COVID-19 cases on Wednesday following 38 new laboratory tests. The country has not recorded any new deaths either, and as a result, for post-mortem samples collected returned negative, according to the Ministry of Health. The 163rd National Situation Report released by the Health Ministry indicated that the 38 new laboratory tests were the lowest tests conducted in several weeks. Meanwhile, 2 COVID-19 patients recovered and got discharged from treatment centers. The country currently has 46 people in quarantine, 1,261 active cases, and a crude case fatality ratio of 3.2%. So far, the Gambia has 3,613 confirmed cases, including 117 who died from the coronavirus. And that is the latest update of the coronavirus situation in the Gambia. Next to Zimbabwe, where pharmacies in the country are taking advantage of technology to continue business amid the effects of the COVID-19 global pandemic. Like many other countries, the pharmacy sector was also brought to its knees by dealers have opted, dealers have opted to new ways to continue operations and to help save their businesses. The country's pharmacies network is working on consolidating their efforts to revive a once vibrant sector. Here are more details of that in this report.
This pharmacy opened its doors in April, just as the COVID-19 related lockdowns were imposed. With everyone stuck at home, the fledgling business faced the possibility of closure, but found a lifeline through technology.
People can just send in their prescriptions on WhatsApp, on email, or call in their prescriptions, or we talk to the doctor so that we can deliver. So that's what we had to do, so that we limit people coming to the pharmacy first of all, we limit interactions, and also manage to still supply the medicines. Well, most of our sales during COVID were mainly through that avenue. So it helped us survive. I'm not sure if we would have been able to even keep afloat without that innovation.
This is a new housing development still coming up, and so customers are sparse for retail-oriented businesses. However, what this small pharmacy has been able to do by going virtual is open up the entire Harare market. Along the way, it's been improving the model, including pooling deliveries by area to maximize efficiency while still maintaining the integrity of the profession.
Part of our job is to be able to determine if this prescription is valid. So for prescriptions that we can do that, we just do that. We print it here, or we collect it at the delivery point. Some prescriptions, you need the hard copy. For example, dangerous drugs, the ones that are prone to being abused. Those are the ones that we have to be strict on.
Now, big health insurers are scaling up the model, networking hundreds of pharmacies with hundreds of thousands of members.
One thing we noticed in Zimbabwe over the past 7 to 10 years is that a lot of the pillars that are needed for e-commerce to work have been set up bit by bit. I mean, from mobile payment platforms to an increase in data usage and having smartphone devices or gadgets that can be used to access the internet. So e-commerce was ready, but there just wasn't something that was nudging it or pushing it forward. But what COVID has done is it has opened the eyes of any service provider.
That's attested to by the fact that clients no longer have to walk into such pharmacies, but simply call or click to get their medication.
From the report there in Harare, Zimbabwe, we come back home. Now, Claudiana A, the Minister for Basic and Secondary Education, announced on Tuesday that upper and senior secondary schools will open on the 14th October 2020. Early Childhood Development, ECD, widely known as nursery schools, and lower basic schools will reopen or will return to the classroom on the 28th October. The Education Minister stated that the grade 9 and 12 successfully sat for their terminal examination in the midst of the pandemic. Minister Cole revealed that 24,348 students sat for the Gambia Basic Education Certificate Examination, GABC, while 14,323 candidates wrote to the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WAS. The close of schools due to COVID-19 greatly affected the poor, the guide child, rural population, and those with special educational needs, said the Education Minister. Let's take a listen to the Minister in this insert.
With these and the collaboration of all stakeholders, more especially students and parents, we are optimistic of a safe school reopening for all. In this regard, I would like to make a humble and gentle appeal to parents that while sewing their children's school uniforms, they could do a mask or two using the same material for uniformity, bearing in mind that the wearing of masks is compulsory for everybody. In light of the above, I am pleased to inform all students, teachers, parents, and stakeholders that schools will reopen for grades 7 to 12 on October 14th, 2020, and for ECDs to grade 6 on October 28th, 2020. Schools will reopen for grades 7 to 12 on October 14, 2020, and for ECD to grade 6 on October 20th, 2020. It is my hope that maximum attention will be paid to the necessary health regulations that will ensure safe school environment for the good of all students, teachers, and ancillary staff within the school setting. With these and the collaboration of all
Minister of
stakeholders,
Basic and Secondary Education, speaking there ahead of reopening of schools in the Gambia. Next to Syria, where more than 17 civilians in the country have been killed and dozens wounded in the city of Al-Bab after a car bombing. The explosion happened at a nearby bus station in Al-Bab in the northwest Syrian town dominated by Turkish-backed rebels on Tuesday, leaving 80 people wounded. Many of those injured in the attack are in critical condition, according to reports, while more dead bodies are expected, according to the White Helmet Rescue Service, as the attack left nearby buildings in rubble. Meanwhile, the masterminds behind the attack are yet to be established. And of course, with that, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back, and many thanks for joining us once again. Now, hundreds of thousands of people on Tuesday descended at the Senegalese city of Touba to celebrate the life of the founder of the Muridi Lai sect, Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba, amid concerns of the possible outbreak of a new wave of the coronavirus in the Senegambia region. Well, let's have more details of that in this report.
Despite the global coronavirus pandemic still restricting movements and social gatherings, pilgrims flooded the holy city of Touba, where about 1 million people are already resident. With coronavirus ravaging Senegal, the country has so far recorded 15,000 cases, of which 12,000 recovered and 312 died. The Touba pilgrims rest their hopes in God for protection from the pandemic.
If you believe in God, you shall not fear the coronavirus. You shall only fear God. He brought the pandemic here. We came here with our faith and a big heart. We are really proud of that.
The annual gathering brings together more than 4 million Muslim followers of the late Sheikh from West Africa and other parts of the world. One pilgrim concerned with the spread of the coronavirus said people in the city should follow the guidelines against the virus, but it will not stop people from living their lives.
We have to follow the instructions that God gave to us, the Muslim people, in particular the Murids. We shall respect the measures and keep on living. We cannot pause our lives because it is something God spread on the planet and we have to entrust our Creator.
Fears have been raised about the possibility of a new outbreak of the coronavirus as millions converge at the city of Touba. On Sunday, the Gambia government said in a statement that it was discouraging intending pilgrims from attending the grand celebrations in honor of the Sheikh. But the weak implementation of border control means the government can't stop pilgrims from leaving Gambia for Senegal. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
A report there by Mariama Cham. Finally, to Rwanda, where 19 members of the Red Tabara rebel group from Burundi were recently arrested in Rwanda after they illegally entered Rwanda's territory. The arrested rebels are part of the force fighting against the Burundian government, and they were apprehended by a regional military forces created to maintain peace and protection within the region, where residents in the area have welcomed the initiative, saying they will collaborate with the army to protect the people. Here are more details of that in this report.
Ruheru sector is one of the areas within vicinity of Nyungwe Forest. In the recent years, this has been the pathway for illegal entry of people who have killed and maimed civilians. Rwanda Defense Force RDF on Saturday, October 3rd, announced that 19 Burundian militants armed with guns illegally crossed from Burundi to Rwanda. This group was led by Nkurunziza Egide. We were in the forest for the last 1 month fighting Burundi, but we did not know we have crossed to Rwanda because the forest looks alike. We have fought in many other forests and some are still there. In a report, Major Alexis Muranga, head of Gisego military base in Nyungwe Forest in Ruheru sector, informed the International Conference on the Great Lakes region expanded joint verification mechanism that the rebels were apprehended 600 meters into the country from Burundi border. The group's representative, Kanori Gobert Ibwanga from the Democratic Republic of Congo, called on militias operating in the region to stop disrupting security in various forests as they have different effects on the citizens.
Nous voulons qu'il y ait la stabilité dans la...
We want stabilization in the region. We are calling on those who are still in this forest to stop this so that our citizens live in harmony and peace. We'll give this report to the CLG.
de tous les pays de la Syrie.
Some residents of one of the sectors most frequently attacked by the rebels say the activities of the Rwanda armed forces in the area provide comfort to them. They are also determined to work together to maintain their security in general. We are protected by our own army, and whenever we meet them, we ask for their identification to ensure that we are all safe. We also play our part to ensure that there is security because we take turns around and make sure no one crosses into the country illegally or crosses to the neighbors. The Red Tabara rebels were seized with equipment including 17 Kalashnikov guns, 1 machine gun, 1 rocket launcher, explosives, 2 telecommunication radios, and a bag containing ammunition.
Rebel groups from Burundi, they arrested in Rwanda. And of course, from that report, we'll finally bring this news bulletin to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, you can log on to our website on iafrica.tv. But you can also join Sahna Trunkra at 17:30 GMT or 5:30 local time for the World Today News Bulletin. But for now, though, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and bye for now.
dama kontaan bu baax sax si ñëw bi nga ñëw seet si suma tabax gi kontaan naa ci trop.
maa gën a kontaan bi ma ñëwee fekk sa tabax bi toll fii waaye nag man kontaanuma ci sama kër gi man.
lu xew.
ndax umpale wuloon ne ñoo bokkoon nekk Europe.
dëgg la
jamono yu ñu nekkee foofu yëpp man ak yow maa ngi am benn waay maa ngi ko yónnee xaalis bu bari pour mu sampal ma suma kër. te ba léegi tabax bi àggul fenn. te yow nga waxoon ma ne ma bi nga starté samp yàggul léegi nga toll fii. foo jaar
li waral loolu nag mooy dama ànd ak waa Baluwo.
kon su ma la déggee Baluwo dañuy yëngu ci samp tamit.
ni ngay def nag yomb na da ngay log on to www.baluwo.com mun ngaa jënd ci ñoom ciment suuf banta weñ ba ci daaj yi nga xam ne di nga ko soxla lépp lu jëm ci wàllu samp rek mun nga koo am ci lu yomb ak Baluwo daal yaay dugal sa xaalis fi nga ko bugga amee ko ci ni nga ko buggee.
TRRC is mandated to make recommendations for prosecution or amnesty for human rights violations. However, the TRRC has not made any recommendations for prosecutions yet.